Good, beautiful Friday night to all of you out there here on RickCast, episode 128. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope everybody is enjoying the fact that you are now all free for your weekend. Let me be one of the first to wish all the fathers out there a happy Father's Day weekend. Y'all earned it and deserve it, and I hope you enjoy it. And we are going to have some fun here on RickCast before we get out. Some serious topics here, some serious topics there. But overall, you guys, the audience, make this show what it is. And I thank you guys for being here as we wait for the bar rats to assemble and head on in here, because the best part of this show is you guys in the chat with your comments, with your commentary, your views, the way you see things. You make the show that much better. So I hope you guys are as active as you usually are all across the platforms: Getter, Rumble, YouTube, Instagram, X, Kick, and my one person on Twitch. Always have to salute the one person on Twitch. So yes, we are going to spend a good amount of time on the Israel-Iran escalations that are taking place there. Steve Cunningham and I covered it live on News from the Pew last night. New things have happened today, and the propaganda from the neocon right is been all out. It has been all out, and it has been disgusting. And I'm going to throw this comment up here to put this point out. Trump said he gave Iran 60 days to come back with the negotiation table. On day 61, it sounded like Tony Soprano, Michael Corleone hybrid. Yeah. Also, very interesting point here. Trump, one of his strengths, we've always said, is the fact that he is very visible. He's always out there. He's one of the most accessible, right? One of the most transparent administrations in history. Been very quiet today. Been very quiet. Usually the guy can't keep the microphones away from Trump. Yet today it's been very silent. By the way, disgusting. And I said it before and we'll say it again. It's been disgusting, the amount of cheerleading that people who have never or who don't even think about conflict. I'm talking about you, Dave Rubin, Nick Sodor, and all these other cheerleaders on X, cheering war and destruction from all these people and all these things as bombs are being dropped on both sides and people are dying. And you morons, you cheerleaders, you bootlickers are just, oh, look, Trump's going to get him now. Shut up. Just please do me a favor and just stop bootlicking, or do me a favor. I'll say it one more time, do me a favor. Stop calling yourself a journalist, or stop calling yourselves journalists, because you guys are literally cheerleading the destruction of two different countries and the deaths of innocent people. And if you're going to be a mouthpiece, just be a mouthpiece. Just don't call yourself a reporter, because we would say it to the other side. We would, if the left was cheerleading this stuff on, then we would call them out. But when it's you guys, we have to sit back and take it. I'm the meme. Israel or Palestine or Iran? Rome, baby. That's how I look at it. So we'll talk about that. There is some Pope Leo misinformation as of right now going around. And some of you big Catholic channels, y'all bit it and went for it. And once again, I have to put on my Pope Leo XIV defender cape. I got to cape up, as the kids say, for Pope Leo XIV, which I'm glad to do until proven otherwise. Saying that he appointed somebody when it was just news and it was just rumors and speculation. And some of the Catholic accounts that I really respect ran with this, knowing it wasn't confirmed. And it's just this Leo hate, and I hate to say that it's the Francis derangement syndrome that a lot of Catholic YouTube has, or a certain set of Catholic YouTube has, that they must paint Pope Leo in the worst possible way as many times. Lou is here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad to see you, Lou. Good evening. Lies and falsehoods. Lies and falsehoods. That's all it is. So I will cape up for Pope Leo XIV again. Interesting story here. Nobody's going to talk about it because they're too busy cheering on the destruction of two different countries. But it looks like Amazon and Walmart are creating their own stable coins. Why is this a big deal? Because it's going to hasten us into the idea of digital currency. We were afraid of a central digital bank currency, the CBDC, the infamous CBDC. And yet, the establishment, the deep state, whatever you want to call them, figured that out. Trump signed an executive order banning CBDCs. So what they're going to do is they're going to get you hooked onto 6, 7, 8 of them. An Amazon stablecoin, a Walmart stablecoin, whatever stablecoin. And then they're just going to merge them in 2 to 3 years. And then that'll be your central digital bank currency. But it will be via the private sector. It won't be from the government. It'll be from the private sector. And so watching it in real time, right? Lou says that I called some things right. Let's see if I'm right on this one too. And of course, we're going to have to play it out over the course of a year or two to see if I am right. And don't worry, G Money, you are in the correct place because I don't really see preemptively striking a country. And I do this when I teach LTC courses. You cannot claim self-defense if you initiate the fight. You can't claim self-defense if you started the fight. And claiming that Iran has a nuke, which you guys have been talking about for 4 years. Nobody likes it when we say this. You guys have been talking about Iran having a nuke for 40 years. That's no reason to strike them. It isn't just, Lou. You're correct. It's not just. They struck, they drew blood, and then they ran back to their country and said, oh my God, they're going to attack us. It's so terrible. Ooh, we have the right to defend ourselves. You know what? Don't start nothing. Don't be nothing. And now you're putting Trump in a position because the Israelis are like, we have been planning this for months. And Trump's like, I've been trying to do a peace deal. And so there's so many clips, G Money. I didn't want to put the audience through Ted Cruz and Mark Levin. I have one Charlie Kirk video, and that's all I could do. I couldn't do a lot of the other stuff. So it is what it is. So I just couldn't. I'm sorry. There's no Mark Levin. There's no Ted Cruz. There's one Charlie Kirk video that I'm going to use to support my argument going on. But outside of that, it's not. And I don't like the fact that they put Trump in this position. I don't like the fact that because Trump's a deal maker. He's not he doesn't want to go to war. I mean, he'll bomb the crap out of your house if he has to, but I don't get the sense that he wants to. He's not a warmonger. He's not. I mean, he's trying to be pushed into war. There's one of two things. He either told Netanyahu not to bomb, and Netanyahu did it anyway, so he's got to play along so he doesn't look stupid. Or he did play along with it. Either way, Trump's in a bad position because of the hasty actions of the Israelis. And you really can't say anything else about that. So we're going to talk about that. And then finally, we'll do some box office predictions on the way out, ladies and gentlemen. So do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. If you can, to help us out with the show, episode 128. And we're going to get to it, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. Let's go on this Friday night. Good times. Thank you for hanging out with me, too. It's Friday night. It's probably 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, and you're deciding to hang out for me, even for a little while. I greatly appreciate it, and I am just honored that you taken any amount of time to hang out with me. So thank you. So let's first talk about our sponsor, non-sponsor, tradflags.com, because I use their image blatantly in my promo or in my countdown. Go to tradflags.com, buy a flag, and maybe they'll allow me to continue using that. Dean, I know you're gonna get here when you get here, brother. So you're my fighter, so it's okay. You get here when you can, brother. I'm glad to see you. But yes, tradflag.com, help support. You're not supporting the channel. You'll just allow me to continue to use it if you guys buy some flags. They got monthly flags, magnets, hangers, all kinds of great stuff. Not an official sponsor. I just use their stuff, and I think it'd be, it's nice enough for me to, promote them. Tradflags.com. Couple warm-up stories, couple warm-up acts. First one from groundnews.com. 2 men are jailed for their roles in the theft of a 4.75 million euro golden toilet from a Belém palace. James Sheen and Michael Jones received prison sentences for their involvement in the 2019 theft of an 18-karat golden toilet from the stately home Belém Palace. So I guess there's more. Everybody makes fun of Trump for his golden toilet, but apparently there's more than one. The theft occurred hours after a launch party and involved smashing in and ripping out the fully functioning artwork titled America by Mazu Catalan. Well, at least America has the golden toilets. The toilet weighed 98 kilograms and was insured for $6.4 million and served as the star exhibition piece. Has never been recovered after likely being melted down and sold. So it had the runs, I guess. Judge Ian Pringle, this is a fountain of names in this story, described the heist as a bold and brazen one, lasting only 5.5 minutes, and sentenced Sheen to 4 years and Jones to 27 months to a place where they will really not have golden toilets. That's where Churchill was born. Oh, nice. That's an interesting fact there, Lou. Nice. All right. Interesting. So it's very interesting in that regard. The sentencing adds to Sheen's ongoing jail time, and the case reflects an audacious art theft affecting a historic site in the art world's anticipation of recovery. So yeah, golden toilet got stolen. Interesting there. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I actually have 2 more warm-up stories. One more tomorrow, besides the No King protest that I really hope none of you go to. We have the U.S. Army's birthday, and they are all in Washington, D.C. to have a nice North Korean-style parade. I know people are getting it on me, or Soviet-style parade. Listen, I'm not against the parade. I think it's good to honor the military and the people that serve. I have nothing against them. I don't. I just think I'm always about an optics kind of guy. And if they're claiming you're a fascist and you do one of these kinds of things, it doesn't help your reputation. Now, a lot of Trump supporters will say, well, then I don't care. So U.S. Army put out this post today. If you're coming to the birthday festival, then they gave a bunch of different, directions. And of course, you can't bring aerosols, ammunition, bicycles, balloons, hard-sided coolers, firearms, flammable liquids, blah, blah, blah. So 250 years of America's Army. It's going to happen in the National Mall, Washington, D.C. So a full day of celebrating the military. So it's going to be something like that. Looks a little Mao to me. So yeah, it might be. I don't know. Optics. I'm an optics guy. And if somebody, whatever parade full of tanks, it's like, Trump, I love you, dude. And I get what you're trying to do, but it's bad. It's a bad look. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. It's a bad look. I don't care. It looks good. I want to see the big tanks, the big ones. And it's like, oh, okay, fine. We'll do it. Whatever. Sponsored by Pfizer. Make sure you get the sponsorships in there. Sponsored by Pfizer. Yes. All right, let's get to our last opening act. Excuse me. WNBA TV ratings plunge after Caitlin Clark is sidelined with an injury. If you cared about the WNBA, good for you. You probably haven't watched since Caitlin Clark got injured, but nobody else is either, because they tried to say, well, it was about Angel Reese and all these other people. No, it's about Caitlin Clark, because that's the only person anybody actually cares about. So you have that. The WNBA ratings have declined and plummeted since star Caitlin Clark was sidelined with an injury, proving further evidence that without Caitlin Clark, there is no Women's National Basketball Association, which we all knew. And apparently she's coming back this weekend. So the 15 people that actually watch the WNBA, they're super excited. I hope they enjoy it. I don't watch any sports. I don't watch any sports. I'll go to like baseball games, minor league baseball games and stuff like that. I don't watch sports anymore. I just can't deal with, and you know, I watch Fearless with Jason Whitlock, and he talks about how we can't give up on sports. It was established by Christians and all, and he makes some very valid points because he's Jason Whitlock. I just can't. Every time I try to watch like an NFL game or any of these other kinds of things, everything is just so political. They've ripped it away from us. And I don't see how we get it back. I don't see how we get sports back outside of starting new leagues or any of these other kinds of things. So yeah, it's just, I mean, I love baseball, and I used to love the Boston Red Sox. Love the Boston Red Sox. Up until they dropped a huge Black Lives Matter banner on the Green Monster. And as soon as I saw that video and I was hearing that, I was like, I will never, ever root for the Sox again. Ever. I just can't. If I was to be a baseball fan again, maybe I would root for the Rangers because they're a Texas team. But I cannot in good conscience, as long as the ownership exists in Boston, I cannot root for the Sox. I just can't. And, you know, I was a lifelong fan, just such a diehard fan of the Sox back in the day. But yeah, it is. So, oh well. All right, folks. RickCast, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to the story everybody wants to talk about. Israel and Iran. So, dozens of Iranian retaliatory strikes headed towards Israel as the conflict escalates. So, this is in response to the attack that Israel launched last night, since this article won't say that. Iran launched retaliatory strikes into Israel on Friday night in response to a major Israeli attack on Iranian nuclear sites. The Iranian attack is ongoing. Dozens of additional missiles were launched towards Israel, said the Israel Defense Force on X. The IDF warned that all of Israel is under a threat by Iranian airstrikes. Iranian airstrikes that were launched as a retaliation to Israel starting it. Israel started this conflict. I know everybody will couch it under the saying Israel has a right to defend itself, but really, if the Israelis do not attack the Iranians, then it doesn't happen. So I got a couple of videos for y'all because, you know, I like you. And here we go.
Moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion.
By the way, Rising Lion is in reference to the lion on the Iranian flag. Just understand that.
Targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, not a great look from anybody overall in this strike. And the first thing is, you know, how do we get through this? How is the U.S. involved? The U.S. has been trying to do a deal for peace and trying to get this done. Now, where do we go from here? This is a problem for Trump. Because Trump has the America First base. The America First base is not for Israel. All right. One of Trump's biggest strengths when he was elected was, hey, no more new wars. No more new wars. And so his thing is, we don't want to get involved. The people that support him, myself included, it is your Fox News watching boomer population that Mark Levin and all these guys and Dave Rubin and all them who are saying we must support Israel. Israel is the new Jerusalem. And then they give all these other kind of nonsensical things. That's right, Catholic for Rednecks on Instagram. My good friend, I'm glad to see you here tonight. Thank you for hanging out. They always say these things. Now, I'm going to bring up somebody that I do not like, and that's Charlie Kirk, because I want you to listen what he has to say overall.
Overwhelmingly, Americans stand with Israel. The question is, do they...
See, they always have to couch that. No, we don't. No, we don't. We don't
support America getting offensively involved in this war? And I can say definitively, especially with younger Trump supporters, the answer is no. They want to have Israel fight Israel's war, to stand with Israel, intelligence sharing, defensive measures, totally defensible, and I think is legitimate because over 100,000 Americans, as Trey said, are in Israel. And America and Jordan have a long history of having defensive measures to protect civilians. But the question will be in the coming days and weeks, will there be clamoring for an offensive American strategy against Iran? Will some people say, hey, we can finally wipe them out. We have them on the ropes. I would introduce a little bit of caution towards that, especially from a younger generational perspective. One of the main reasons we were able to get young people to vote for President Trump so overwhelmingly this last election was a reminder that President Trump is the peace president, that President Trump is able to broker the impossible peace deals. Look what he did the other day between India and Pakistan. Look at what he did in his first term. And so I do believe that President Trump is uniquely positioned here to stand with our allies, to stand on the side of civilization, but also understand that his voters, they want to return to America first, to stand with what is right and just in the world, but we do not want a potential endless...
So, of course, he has to lace in the nonsense of, well, we always stand with Israel. We've got everybody here in this. We got our people in the chat on Instagram and all the other places saying, no, I don't. And I don't either. And I've said it the other day, and I'll say it again. When they say, oh, Israel's our greatest ally. No, they're not. The Japanese are. Let's be completely honest. The Japanese are our greatest ally in as far as functional societies, cultural norms, and so forth. Israel is not. Israel's only advantage they have is that they're an intelligence asset for us, I guess you could say. But the fact that they try to use Christianity against the people of this union, and they always say, like, and I'm not throwing shade at them, they'll never hear I exist, but Gerald from Louder with Crowder and these guys are so jacked up for this fight. They're so happy to see this and like, oh, Israel's great and Israel's our ally, and read the Bible. Jared put this post out. Look at the Bible. Israel makes it all the way to Revelations. And I responded, hey, Gerald, your Bible's missing some chapters if you think the Israelis from the Old Testament are the same Israelis as the ones in Revelations. It's not the same. So don't try to do this nonsense. But they, you have all these people coming out saying, we have to do it. Yeah. Catholic for rednecks. I agree with you, but elect Trump as the supreme. I can't read that, but oh, I love it. But yes, that's I agree with everybody posting in the chats right now. All of them posting in the chats right now. I agree with all of you. And I think it's ridiculous that we haven't heard from Trump today. We haven't. I think Dana Bash from CNN interviewed him, but we've only got a secondhand source from it. And so where are you? Where are you, Trump? The American people want to know, were you involved in this? Because the Israelis are out there telling anybody that'll listen that the United States was involved in planning this attack for 6 months. They'll tell anybody, oh, they're helping us with the attack. Trump, is this true? Is this true? Because you've been telling everybody you've been trying to get a deal done. Which one is it? Did you tell them not to do anything and they ignored you? Are we in a situation where the Israelis ignored the president? President Trump said, don't do it, and they did it anyway? Or are we in a situation where Trump is lying about all of this? And before we get into it, guys, let's just deal with this narrative that American Jews like to spit at us. Oh, you guys think we're dragging you into World War III? We're protecting you. We're preventing Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, guys. We're preventing Iran from getting a nuke. All right. Well, what about this?
Have as of today?
Right now, I hope none.
Okay. How many does Israel have?
No idea.
No idea. You were in the government. They don't tell you that stuff.
No idea.
Who do they tell?
No idea.
Do you recognize the hypocrisy of Israel having a secret illicit nuclear weapons program that it won't open up its doors to and won't talk about, and then lecturing everyone else in the region about nuclear weapons?
Absolutely not. You know why?
You talk about hypocrisy. If an Iranian guest came on my show and I asked him about Iran's nuclear program, he said, I don't know, I'm not going to talk about it. Would you be okay with that? You'd be outraged.
Of course,
and
I would
you
be.
sit here as a former
Of course I
minister of
would
the
be,
Israeli
because-
government saying, oh, I don't know, I never talked about nukes with anyone.
Because there was like 16 United Nations Security Council resolutions against Iran.
And there is against Israel. And there is against Israel as well.
About
your nuclear
issues?
program.
No.
Yes, there is. UN Resolution 487. Let me read it to you. The UN Security Council in 1981 says, calls upon Israel urgently to place its nuclear facilities under the safeguards of the IAEA. Why haven't you done that?
Because
Iran has never attacked a neighbor. Israel has repeatedly attacked its neighbors. Iran signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty. Israel has refused to sign. Iran submits to inspection by the International Nuclear Energy Agency. Israel refuses to submit. Iran has no nuclear weapons. Israel has between 75 and 400 nuclear weapons. So Israel poses an existential threat to Iran. For the last 40 years, Israel has conducted a systematic campaign of disinformation about Iran. Why the lies? Why the double standards? Why the hypocrisy?
Okay. Listen, those are all legit questions. We're just supposed to sit here and we're all just supposed to say, well, Israel's our greatest ally. So Israel can do whatever they want. And Israel gets billions of dollars in aid from these United States when they don't need it. And Israel spends a lot of money. AIPAC spends a lot of money. So that way, every single elected official goes on their Twitter feed last night or their X feed last night and says, without a doubt, we stand with Israel and Israel has the right to defend itself. Well, what about your district? Because that's all I think you should be concerned with. Or the fact that you'll have members of Congress earlier in the week say, we don't fly anything but the American flag here in these United States. You go to their office, they got giant Israeli flags there. People just have questions about these things. People just have questions. And when Israel goes off on its own and wants to fight Iran and then run back to us and say, but they're the big bully, I ain't falling for it. And I don't want Americans to be shipped over to Iran to die because Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israelis have been itching for a war for 40 years. They've been pushing for this back and forth. And I'm telling you, I'll find another one. You know, whatever I think about the quartering. Sometimes I like him. Sometimes I can't stand a guy. But the fact of the matter is, he has an article from 1995 from the New York Times. Check this thing out. When I say, you know, you guys think I'm joking, I'm not. This right here proves what I'm saying. From the New York Times. From 1990, Iran may be able to build an atomic bomb in 5 years. I didn't even show it to you. Get out of here. You go. Here. Look at this. Iran may be able to build a bomb in 5 years. The U.S. and Israeli officials fear. That was in 1995. And then you can go back all the way to the 80s when they were saying the exact same thing. So they're always going to, we saved you from Iran getting a nuclear weapon. Iran's been supposedly getting a nuclear weapon for 40 years. Now, if they want to go fight their little war, let them. I ain't getting involved, and I want one American soldier to be put on the ground. And if all of Tel Aviv gets leveled, then if you don't start a fight, the fight doesn't happen. It's really that simple. It's just one of these things that is absolutely asinine, because these people want war so badly. And I'm in the camp that I don't think Trump is a warmonger, but I think they put him in a position where he has no choice. I think he got okey doked by the Israelis. I'm going to go out there and I think Trump got okey doked by the Israelis. He told them to wait. They went anyway. And now he's in a position where he's trying to calm things down, right? There's been reports that, the Iranians are calling Trump to figure this out. Putin's on X trying to say, listen, everybody calm down, because this stuff can get out of hand real quickly. So it is one of these things that is just, I don't know. I'm not happy with it. I don't like it. And I don't like the warmongering cheerleading that we're getting from people like Nick Soros and others who are saying, yeah, look at what the Trump administration is doing to Israel, is doing to Iran. Like, I got to. I'm sorry, Nick. I'm going to drag you. I'm going to drag you, buddy. Because you absolutely need to do it. Right? Look at this. Look at this warmonger, this fat idiot. And I hate to say this because I'm a fat idiot myself. Look at this guy. This guy's looks like he's never picked up a hammer in his day in his life. And here he is going, ooh, another Iranian missile just struck down. Iran is playing with fire. Shut up, tough guy. This warmongering nonsense is stuff that I can't deal with. I can't do it. I can't deal with guys that are absolutely soft as butter. Soft as warm butter, yet they're going to act all tough. Oh, look what Trump's doing. Look at this. Ooh, yeah. Right? Reminder, Barack candy, blah, blah, blah. What up, dude? Just unbelievable. No, I'm not a fan of people who cheerlead war. That's my thing. I don't like the idea of conflict. I don't like the idea of people dying unnecessarily. And I don't like the idea of these people on X cheerleading this kind of destruction. I'm not a fan of Iran. I'm not a fan of either one of these people. But I understand that this thing can get out of control really quickly. And I think we're too busy sitting back here thinking that we're the big bad wolf and that we're going to be able to do whatever we want. I just can't do it, man. I'm sorry. It's just not something that I'm down with. I don't like conflict. I want everything to be as peaceful as possible. And I think this dude is a war criminal. I think Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, to be completely honest, for what they've done in Gaza. Right? And yes, I don't like Hamas. Duh. But what has been happening in response to it is just ridiculous. Right? He's talking about an Iranian axis of evil. There's not going to be an Iranian axis. So it's absolutely ridiculous that people on both sides have to die for this absolute nonsense. This absolute nonsense that clearly I'm not a fan of. And there's a lot of people you'll see that are pushing back on this because there was no reason for it. There's no reason for it. Somebody on X made a good point. North Korea has nuclear weapons. We haven't carpet bombed that country. You don't go, if you think a country has a nuclear weapon, you know what you don't do? You do not attack them. You work with them. Guess what? Pakistan has nukes. Y'all sleep it well at night knowing that? The fact that Pakistan of all countries has nuclear weapons? We're not carpet bombing that place into oblivion. Why the specific fixation with Iran? It's a specific fixation with Iran. The U.S. has had it. Steve Cunningham's played the clip 100 times. There's 7 countries we wanted to invade. We've invaded all of them but Iran. We've always, Ever since the Ayatollah took over back in the 70s or late 70s, early 80s, we've just wanted to invade and get rid of them. You know? And yes, people are like, oh, the Muslims are bad. I get it. Obviously, I get the Muslims are bad. But at the same time, we are not a religion of war. Catholics are not warmongers. We only fight when it's a just war. And what the Israelis did is not they just attacked nuclear facilities. There's plenty of photos that show that the Israelis attacked other things than just these nuclear facilities. I say every time I'm always afraid when I say nuclear, I'm going to sound like George W. Bush. So that's why I'm always nuclear. It's a nuclear facility. I'm just always worried about it. That's why I'm kind of like backing off on that one. But you guys are absolutely kept crushing it in the chat right now. And I appreciate the fact that, it's all because of people we've installed and the constant meddling in the Middle East. And Crowder said something today on his show that kind of worried me, or just piqued my head. He's like, we want to have control over the region. We're never going to have control over that region. We're never going to have control over that region unless you want to occupy it. And we tried to occupy it in Iraq. We tried. Didn't work. Okay. It's just a region that exists. We're going to have to play ball with them. It's another reason why we need to produce more energy here at home. So we have to rely on those people. Because people are now worried, oh, the attack on Iran is going to raise oil prices. Well, now we got to have more oil here to do it. So I don't like the idea of having control over the region. We don't have that. We're trying to play matchmaker or trying to do all this other kind of stuff, because now we're looking at the situation kind of just spinning out of control. That's my fear, because the Israelis like, we'll do it as long as it takes. And Trump's like, oh, I don't know. Maybe we should stop. Maybe we should have a deal. And the Israelis are just the thing that scares me is that Trump is still talking about making a deal. And the Israelis are like, we're going to bomb them until we stop feeling like it. They're a dog that's been let off the chain. And that's the thing that really frightens me. Of course, who's the one on the chain and who's not? That's really a good question, but we'll see going from there. There's a lot of people that have a lot more, it is what it is. There's really only one solution for the Middle East. And that is, the reestablishment of Christendom in the Middle East. That's the only way true peace is ever brought there. But until, as Bellator is saying, that's some biblical revelation kind of stuff. So it is. And it really worries me that we're seeing this take place, and it's taking place, and there's cheerleading taking place for it. And there's a sizable set here in this union. Pretty much it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican, both sides, both Democrats and Republicans are compromised on this. Almost every single elected, quote unquote, representative. Ted Cruz came out. I know I said I wasn't going to use the line, but I'll say, he's like, America stands with Israel, and I stand with Israel. And I'm like, no, Ted Cruz, you're supposed to represent me. I don't stand with Israel. So you can't say that. If one of your constituents says that they don't stand, then you don't. But we don't matter to them. We don't matter to them at all. So, yeah, that's my diatribe about what's going on in Israel. It's absolutely terrible. It's a shame that it was allowed to happen. And if you're a Catholic like me, you just need to pray. Christian, pray. Pray for peace. Pray for peace at this point, because for me, I just see a train just steamrolling out of control. Because if the Israelis are not listening to these United States right now, if they didn't listen to them and they just launched the attack anyway, then what good then what are the guardrails? What is this? What is the off ramp? All right. Let's see here. This is RickCast. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell if you can to help us out. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, my brother Dean is getting ready to go back into surgery. And he could use your help if you can. Reach out to me at barrettbrief@gmail.com or hit me up on X or on Instagram and let me know. I will share the link for his GoFundMe. Times are tough. I understand everybody's dealing with stuff, but Dean could really use our help right now because he's got some costs that he has to offset. And if you take a look at his GoFundMe and the things he's gone through, and he's a happy warrior, and if we can help him out, I think we need to. So if you want to support Dean, if you want to help him out, send me a message on X. You can send me a message on Gmail. You can send me a message on Instagram. Let me know, and I'll be more than happy to forward the link on to you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to our next story. Time for me to ring the bell, signifying it is time for me to put on my Pope Leo XIV cape. That's right. It is time to defend Pope Leo XIV once again. So this sucker popped up on Instagram or on X a couple days ago, or actually yesterday. And everybody, your guys that you know would do it, did it. They ran with this story. This deacon, Reverend Deacon Nick Donnelly. What are you doing? This guy is acting as if this went through. And I'm not trying to call out Reverend Deacon Nick Donnelly. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but did you even read the article? And listen, this is not me throwing shade, but Anthony from Return to Tradition did a story on this. And my question is, Anthony, is this really worthy of a video? And let me say, you had a video earlier in the day talking about an interview about the resignation of Pope Benedict XVI. Excellent video. You had a great video earlier in the day. I don't know why you feel like you have to do a video on this. This is not confirmed, and all it is speculation and rumor. And I don't think that's healthy. That's all my question. I'm not throwing shade. If you guys can tell me why, I'm only doing this because people are running with this. I'm only doing this because people are, the Reverend is talking about it. Everybody's taking this as fact. So what happened is this popped up in an Italian newspaper. Leo XIV confirms soft corn author Tuccio as prefect of the doctrine of faith. Now, if you read the actual article, now, of course, Anthony from Returning, he's the only one I'm actually subscribed to. Him, Marshall, and a couple others. By the way, shout out to Tim Gordon. He's got me blocked, but you gave a good effort on Timcast this morning. You were out, it was 2-on-1. I think you did a great job. Thank you for representing the faith the way you did. But this newspaper says Leo XIV confirms soft porn. There goes the YouTube stream. Soft corn author Tuccio as the prefect. Pope Leo XIV has received Cardinal Tuccio Fernandez for the third time today. Now, this is according to religiondigital.org. Who is religiondigital.org? Tuccio answered yes to the Pope's question about whether he could count on him, and Leo XIV confirmed him as the head of the Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith. Keeping Fernandez in his post is a way to protect Francis's legacy, comments the anti-Catholic religiondigital.org. So why are you taking the comments of an anti-Catholic organization as fact? Why are you doing that? Religion Digital also adds a rumor to its coverage of Tuccio. Leo XIV intends to retain Sister blah 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 as head of diocese for religious. And so this comes out there, and of course the rage mob comes out. This is terrible. He's making this a thing, and blah 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 blah. And can everybody just calm down? Not make videos, not spread this? What is it about Pope Leo? What is it about Pope Leo that makes you guys lose your mind? you are, and this is the thing that I was warning about when we were leading up to the conclave, when I said, please don't treat this as an NBA draft where you're like, oh, we need to get Cardinal Sarah. Oh, we need to get Cardinal Burke. Oh, we need to get this guy, because you're putting your hopes in something. Oh, we need this one. And yes, I like Pizza Balla too. I thought Pizza Balla would have made a great one. But the fact is, you guys put your hope in this, and it's not your guy. And because it's not your guy, you jump at the chance, it seems like, and I could be wrong, it seems like, and if you see this segment, reach out to me. I'll correct the record if I'm wrong. You seem to jump at the chance to just absolutely, I don't want to say these things and connect them to paint Pope Leo XIV in a negative light. Why are you so anxious to do this? Why are you so anxious to paint the Holy Father in this way? Is it Francis derangement syndrome? Is it FDS? Is that really what it is? Because Pope Francis is dead. I'm not being mean when I say that. The man is dead. He is buried. He is no longer here. But you keep invoking him. I think that's a great point. They invoke his name as a spirit. He's gone. And so Christine Niles, of all people, calling this sloppy journalism. It greatly surprises me that Catholics are reporting as fact that which is remaining rumor. The latest rumor that Pope Leo has quote-unquote confirmed Cardinal Victor Fernandez as prefect of the DDF. First, the Vatican has made no such announcement in its daily bulletin, where its appointments and resignations are announced. Second, if you read the original article at Religion Digital, which is an anti-Catholic publication, by the way, you'll see it's an opinion piece filled with speculation about the Pope's strategy. I will give Anthony from restoring Return to Tradition credit. When Pope Leo was announced and in the early days, he said, and I quote it often, which is why I want to give him credit for, he said, everybody is scrambling to put their stamp on this Pope in his early days. He even said, the Pope said it is Sunday's Mass. He's like, I've only been on the job a month. If we're expecting this guy to be here for 20 years, and it's the first month and he hasn't done these things, blah. Why? Anyway, for goodness sakes, the title of the page is Rumors of Angels. The name of the article is Rumors of Angels. As to Tuccio's quote-unquote confirmation, it says this, quote, according to the sources in the various audiences, the Argentinian cardinal answered yes to the Pope's question as to whether he could count on him, and Leo XIV confirmed him as head of the doctrine of faith. Anonymous source. Nobody's put their name on it. This is the same thing people get mad about with Trump. Everybody gets mad when there's 15 sources about Trump not being able to tie his shoe. The same Catholic media guys who defend Trump every time the liberal press makes some kind of statement, and they're like, oh, this is but yet when an anonymous source comes up with this, you guys run to it as if it's fact. The rest of the article makes clear that this quote-unquote confirmation is just the simple provisional confirmation Pope Leo granted to all diocesan diastery heads when he was elected. Quote, and if in a few months he changes it, it would be to send Fernandez to the dicastery for bishops or to another Vatican congregation of similar stature. Now, it may be that this rumor is later confirmed through an official pronouncement from the Holy See. We don't know. But that's not the case now, and people should not be reporting it as fact when it is rumor. Sloppy journalism, and that's a problem. I will give Mike Church credit when he said this. Having people like me and having anybody have the barriers to entry for, podcasting and reporting are low, that people run with anonymous sources. People are in a rush to get to these things first. They've sacrificed truth for being first at something. Christine Niles finishes up. For her part, she earnestly hopes that Pope Leo XIV will not renew Cardinal Fernandez's tenure at the helm. The Cardinals caused scandal upon scandal, and I don't want to read the rest of it. And Pope Leo XIV needs to make a clean sweep of the DDF and restore the once esteemed congregation to its former respectful status. So she's absolutely correct. She's absolutely correct. Can we stop? Can we stop? And it makes me kind of makes me sad that we're so damaged that we cannot move on. We're just so damaged from Francis. We have no resiliency. We have. Do we not realize, and I've said this before on News from the Pew and other things, do we not realize that we have it pretty easy as Catholics? Our Catholic ancestors would be shaming us if they saw the level of hysteria that we go through. They're like, do you realize we went through things? Do you realize what we did for the faith? The Japanese went without the sacraments for 1,000 years. I'll say that again. The Japanese went without sacraments for 1,000 years. The Catholic Church still exists in Japan. And right now in Africa, our Catholic brothers are being slaughtered by Muslims. Every day they wake up and one of their priests are gone. And yet we sit here in a lap of luxury, biting our fingernails because of a rumor or speculation or whatever the case may be. I mean, I really hope that we can kind of back off this type of hysteria, this obsession we have with trying to point out the negatives of Pope Leo XIV. Is he going to do everything right? No. Guess what, guys? And when he does something wrong, I'll call him out on it. But this is not something to call him out on because nothing's happened. We're worried about something that hasn't happened yet. Yet most of the trad crowd loves St. Padre Pio, myself included, and we all like to quote the pray, hope, and don't worry. But when it's time to pray, hope, and don't worry, we go, forget that. I want to worry. So it is one of these things that we're going to have to do. I don't know, Bellator. Let me read this, and I appreciate the comment. It's going to take time, period. 12 years of a bad pope. We must be tough and humble. Pope Leo will have to earn many people's trust. He's the Pope, man. You either swear allegiance to the Pope or you don't. That's I understand what you mean by having to earn trust back. He is the successor to St. Peter. He sits in the chair. I trust him. There have been plenty of saints that have said that's the Pope. And I will not, take up, a bad word or any of these other kinds of things against him. So I understand what you're saying, Bellator, and I respect the fact that you had the ability to say it. So I'm not dogging you on it, and I understand where you're coming from. For me, it's this idea that we're allowing something else to cloud this. And our Lord tells us not to let anxiety defeat us. Anxiety is a weapon of the enemy. And so, once again, I appreciate Bellator because Bellator, I actually should thank you. You kind of you alley-ooped for me, man. You lobbed it up perfectly. So thank you for that statement. And I understand what you're saying, and I get it. And I appreciate you, and this is why the show is better when you guys get involved, because you set me up and it's fantastic. So thank you guys. Continue, to do so here on RickCast. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that concludes Rick's daily segment. It seems like caping up for Pope Leo XIV. I'm just trying to see if he can maybe I can get one of those defender of the faith things. I'm just trying to, maybe, but nah. Just I don't know. It's just one of these things where I understand people are, but we cannot let anxiety rob us of this joy. Yeah. Right? The enemy wants us to be afraid. The enemy doesn't want us to trust him. And Bellator, I'm not saying you don't trust him and you don't love the Pope. I'm not saying that. I hope you understand that. I'm not accusing you of that. Far from it. And I wouldn't accuse anybody of that. And I do get where you're coming from. It's just that for me, and that's how I'll couch this. For me, saying I'll wait until you prove it. I'll say this. Our Lord doesn't wait for us. Our Lord doesn't ask us to prove how much we love him. I'm going to botch this so hard. Our Lord doesn't hold us to the same standard we're holding Pope Leo to. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ does not hold us to the same standard that we are. Our Lord doesn't have to wait. Even when we hurt our Lord and Savior through every single sin that we commit, he does not wait to forgive us and embrace us. And that's how I kind of look at that kind of stuff. So that's kind of how, our Lord doesn't wait for us or doesn't make us prove, right? We go to confession because we want to be forgiven. He doesn't wait for us to do these kinds of things. So that's, and I'm trying to, I am not the theological type and I don't want to get into it. I've heard enough people, Stephen Crowder included, that this is the kind of quote I like to use. I know just enough to be dangerous. So I don't want to get too far into that kind of stuff. I don't want to, I'm really good at remembering like half a phrase and botching up the rest of it. So, it is what it is. And I appreciate everybody's comments on those things. All right, let's get into the next segment of the program. All right. Interesting story. We're done with the high topics. We're going to do some interesting topics on the way out. This is just something nobody else is picking up on today that I'm picked up on, that I think we should be aware of going forward. And as you like, I have my pen now, which goes all over the place. Walmart and Amazon are considering issuing stable coins, digital currency, right? Come on. I got 10 people watching on YouTube. Can all 10 people like karate chop the like button for me, please? Just, karate chop it, super kick it, hit it from the top rope. Do what you got to do. So even if it's 3, can I get 3 people to smash the like button? 3, 10, I don't care. I agree. The likes shouldn't be at 0. So awesome. Mike, I'll take 1. Can I just have 1? That's all I want. I just want 1 of them buttons to be pushed. Yeah, we have 62 on X, Dean. You're right about that. So we're holding strong there. We have almost 700 on Getter. Getter is holding it down for us. We got people watching us on Instagram and on Rumble as well. So thank you to everybody who are hanging out with me, even if it's for a couple minutes. I appreciate every single one of you. So Walmart and Amazon are considering stable coins, which means people made enough noise about the government issuing a central digital bank currency that Trump signed the executive order, and now people don't worry about that. However, the agenda is the agenda, and they want to make sure that it gets accomplished and instituted. So what they're doing, and we talked about when MasterCard was going to institute or make it easier to use stablecoin on their platforms, you have Walmart, you have Amazon, you have all these companies who are going to transition you even from plastic to digital currency, right? Retail giants are reportedly evaluating this to streamline e-commerce. Right, that's what they're doing. Walmart and Amazon are reportedly mulling plans to issue their own U.S. dollar-backed stablecoins for customers, signaling wider institutional stablecoin adoption amid improving regulatory clarity in these United States. The two retail giants are mulling the development of brand-specific stablecoins, according to people familiar with the matter. While neither of the companies confirmed this, stablecoin payment systems could either divert billions of cash flow from their banking partners. Amazon reported $638 billion worth of annual revenue, and Walmart's, with the global e-commerce doing $447 billion for the platform. Walmart's global e-commerce is $100 billion, accounting for 17% of that company's total sales. A stablecoin-based payment rail would offer faster and cheaper transactions, helping such large companies save billions in banking fees. Not only does it say that they are going to, quote unquote, save billions in banking fees, it's going to get you more used to digital currency. So if you start having everybody, all these companies using their individual stable coins, in about 5 years, these companies, it's never going to be the government. Everybody was worrying about the government's digital bank currency. It'll be Walmart, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, all coming out and saying, hey, guess what? We're all going to use the exact same stable coin called super stable coin or something dumb like that. I don't know. And then they'll be able to do what they've wanted to do. What you're going to get is you're going to get the social credit score and you're going to get the central digital bank currency, but it's not going to be the way the Chinese did it through the state government. You're going to get it through the quote unquote private sector. The private sector is going to do it. So that way they can continue it. Now, Michael brings up a great point because you put everything on stablecoin, it doesn't matter how much money you print. It doesn't, they can continue to print without any repercussions from here until the end of time. Because the stable coin is what everybody's basing it on, not the dollar. See where I'm making that? That's the connection that I'm thinking they're doing. So they can say, oh, well, it doesn't matter that we print all this money. We don't go by money. We go by stable coin. And stable coin is how we regulate things. But the money that backs it, so you see how they can continue. They've found an out for their just quantitative easing into eternity. So that's the thing about this. So it's two things. The first thing that this stable coin that Amazon and Walmart will do, and don't worry, Netflix, everybody else will have their own stable coin, and it'll kind of be like the streaming services. There's 400,000 streaming services until they're starting to consolidate, because big words are tough for me, consolidate again, because there's too many of them. You'll have 6, 7, 8, 9 stable coins from these major companies, and then these major companies will all come together and say, we've come up with super stable coin that works across all platforms. It works across all platforms, guys. Don't worry about it. You're good. And so many people, 95% of the public will be so addicted to the convenience, they won't even care. And you will have set up a social credit score, but it won't be a social credit score. You already have it on things like Uber. It'll be like a friendly credit score. They'll call it something else. So you'll have a private credit score based off of super stable coin. And this is the beginning of it. We already talked about on the show, MasterCard's building in backdoor, access to stable coins off their platform. Everybody's setting this stuff up. And this is not crazy Rick screaming out about all this other guy. This was from the Wall Street Journal, and the only reason I had to source this website is because I ain't paying the Wall Street Journal for stuff, and they used it. So the Wall Street Journal is announcing this. They're telling you this stuff in real time. So yeah, it's not new. What those kinds of things are, Michael, it's all introduction to see which one catches. It's different brand recognition strategies. That's right, Dean. 1984. Right in front of your face. Of course, younger generations they don't even know 1984 is a book. So when we scream that, they're like, what are you talking about? That was a year. It's like, okay, well, great. So interesting to see in that regard. Apocalypse, 13 digital currencies is one step closer to the world currency. Yep. Yeah, exactly. That's 100% correct, Bellator. You know, the euro will just come out. They'll just put out the euro and say, guess what? You got to deal with this. You got to deal with this. And then they'll find a way, because you can do it in Europe because they're all socialist anyway. But here you have to go through the extra step of making it quote unquote private. It's got to be private so that way these people can make sure that they accept it. Right? Call it a MAGA coin and half of the country will accept it. Call it MAGA coin and all the Republicans will be like, I want my MAGA coin. I want mine. Not, of course, the intelligent, amazing, beautiful people that watch this show. Not you guys. All right, last story of the day. A little bit of entertainment stuff. Box office predictions for this weekend. One new movie out, How to Train Your Dragon. And we'll see how that goes. The forecast, they think it's going to make between $80 and $90 million, which is not bad for a shot-for-shot remake of a movie. I've never seen any of the How to Train Your Dragon, so I don't know if they're any good or not. But apparently, this movie will make the money that The Lion King and all the other Disney live-action remakes made outside of like Cinderella, obviously. Not Cinderella, Snow White, and even The Little Mermaid. So this one's going to make about $80 million. And, you know, it looks like they'll be fine. So it should be okay. The biggest problem with How to Train Your Dragon, it's the same audience that Lilo and Stitch has. And Lilo and Stitch may still have a lot of pull for a lot of audiences. The big thing is How to Train Your Dragon is going to have to share these premium large screens, the PLSs, with Lilo and Stitch. They're going to have to split them. And that may really cut in to how Your Train Your Dragon actually performs going forward. So we'll see. They're saying 80 to 90 million. I'll say 85 million. We'll put it right in there. Lilo and Stitch, looking to see at this point, Lilo and Stitch as what's its worldwide box office? It doesn't even say here. Worldwide box office, Lilo Stitch 2025, because you got to do that or else they'll give you like the 99.5 version. Let's see. It's right now global box office is 807. So Lilo and Stitch is at $800 million. Yes, Bellator, you're correct. It's at $800 million. They say it's about 807. So another 18 million. It'll cross what's today? The 15th. I don't even. It's the 13th. So Lilo and Stitch will cross $1 billion by July 1st. I have no doubt that it'll do such a thing. So that's fine right there. John Wick. From the world of John Wick Ballerina. If you'd like, my review is up on RickCast Reviews. Now the demographic may be a little bit older. So that's why I'm saying I don't think it's the demographic, Mr. Grumpy, that's the problem. I think it's the access to the premium large screens. Your IMAX screens, the large format ones, your 4Ds, all these other kinds of the ones at the Cinemarks, the premium screens, the big auditoriums. Disney Disney drives bargains where you have to keep their films in those PLSs for a certain amount of time. And I think it's going to be a case where the PLS, the PLS will have to split. They'll maybe do Lilo and Stitch in the afternoon, the morning, and then switch at 6:00 at night for How to Train Your Dragon. Why is that a big deal? Because How to Train Your Dragon now misses 3, 4, or 5 shows at that higher ticket price. That's why they all want the PLSs, because it's a higher ticket price, higher box office numbers. So that's why they want those PLS screens. And if you have to split it, even if it's for half of it, and even if it's different demographics, you're still robbing How to Train Your Dragon or any of these other films from that higher ticket price point. So that's what I'm talking about. You're right about the demographics. My thing is, since Lilo and Stitch is still doing somewhat well, and Disney are jerks about how long you have to keep their films in those PLSs, even if they're not performing well, that may cut into How to Train Your Dragon. That's what I'm saying about that. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah. So that's the thing between those two. So Ballerina, I thought it was good. Check out my review on RickCast Reviews from the world of John Wick Ballerina. I thought it was a pretty decent show. I enjoyed it. I would see it again. But we'll see how it holds. If it does less than 50%, then it may have legs. And that's not an Arnis not Armis joke. This movie may have legs to do a pretty decent run. So it's 90 million in the box office plus like an additional 40. It's got like $145 million budget with both. So it's at 25. If it can come somewhere between like 12 to 13 million, then that's a pretty good hold for them. And if it has that hold, then it may have the legs, because it's serving a demographic that no other film is actually serving right now. And that's that 25 plus male bracket, right? 75% of the people who went to Ballerina were men. So, and that's the problem with these female action movies, is that men go to these audiences. Women don't go see these films because women don't usually like action films. So the fact that there's really Mission Impossible is gone. Mission Impossible is essentially, it's on its way out. And the Ballerina is the only film right now that gives 25 plus ages a place to go. And with pretty decent word of mouth, you could see this film doing about 12 to, I'm going to say about 12.5 for Ballerina this weekend. So we'll see how that goes with those. They're not even doing anything else. They don't even care about any of these other ones. So we'll see how that goes in that regard. I think it's going to be 85 for How to Train Your Dragon. I don't know, 14.5 million for Lilo, and then 13 million for Ballerina. See if I even remember those coming Monday. All right, that's it for this episode of RickCast. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight on this beautiful Friday evening. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. You guys earned it, and I hope you have a wonderful Father's Day. Congratulations on being the head of the family, the king, the prophet, and priest. You don't get enough credit in society, and enjoy the day where people actually give you the respect you deserve. I will see you all on Monday here on RickCast, so you do me a favor. You stay safe out there this weekend, and I will see you then. God bless, and until that day comes, ladies and gentlemen, free Dexter Taylor.